I am going to try to get my head back in the game with a design I was working on last week. I haven't touched it since then, so it might take a minute or two to get reacquainted with what I was thinking. But I wanted to simultaneously kind of do that design work while simultaneously building up some intuition for these this little design toolbox of React components that I want to work on, kind of to see how usable they actually are, if they're useful, if there's new things I should add, that sort of thing. So it's a kind of hybrid design day where I'll be designing a bit of a toolbox app alongside designing an actual pull-up bar type thing, so like a physical frame. But I want to see if I could also make design tools pretty useful for me as well, if that makes any sense. And so I'll just switch over to my scene and kind of showcase what I'm talking about. So I've got my design library up here. I've got a REPL running down here. Oops. We'll see how useful that ends up being. Oh, there we go there. This here is it is something I have running right now, which is a little app which I can show in just a minute. It's a reagent Clojure script thing. I should say it's a Clojure script app using reagent to make React components. And I have it right now. I've got a dev build of it running here. And I was messing around with a little build idea I had for it as well. So, and then here I've got the markdown and the figure code for this work in progress design, which is very much a work in progress. So let's see where my head goes today. It's been a while since I focused on this library. I've been really busy with doing some 2D design work. So to shift into the 3D again is always a mind bender a little bit, but that's no problem. But to go back to this, I called it ASDF app because I didn't know what else to call it. It's just sort of a workbench kind of thing. And that's right here. So if I actually, I'll just refresh the page here for an example. And it appears that I've broken it. That's a shame. Let's have a look here. Okay, I've broken it. Probably okay, so the dev build, I might have to rebuild the dev build. Okay, so it'll be compiling the dev. I think I cleared the target folder, so I think it has to rebuild everything for a minute here. Hopefully it works. And then I also have to, because I was messing around with the this HTML here, resources public. This has to be not prod main but dev main, like this. And I have to let it compile again. Theoretically it'll work, but maybe I messed it up. It's entirely possible. Okay, dev main seems to exist right now. Maybe it's a matter of refreshing. Let's try again. There we go. Okay. Now we're back in business here. Okay, so this little app I made is really quite simple. The idea is, since I'm just building little components that are just useful tools, every component that I add into it, I just want to have a little button that spawns one. And then the idea is you can just sort of add into the page. It's not a REPL, but it's like spawning little useful tools for you as you go. And this one, the only one I've got so far, is a polygon drawer, I guess. And the idea is you can click it all here and you can copy paste these coordinates into, if you're defining it in a file here, you can copy paste it in there. These can move, which is really nice, and you can clear it and start it over. I'm pretty proud of this so far. I mean, there's a lot to be desired. There's things that don't work, and if you scroll things, it can mess up, and that sort of thing can still happen. So it is absolutely not perfect, but it does the trick reasonably well. I'm happy with it so far. I also have a cool little, well, I think it's cool. If I go over to here, I have this thing, this little script embed here, which I actually have here. I made it a little embed thing. It's just this script here, and I run it using well, actually, first of all, so what I do, I run a production compilation which uses advanced compilation to make a small main.js file. Just gotta let it run. Anyway, so while that's going, this is just a very simple script that I run with Babashka. I could make just a regular bash script, or even make it in a namespace that when I run CLJ it just builds it that way, but this was the first thing I thought of. Okay, so successfully compiled build production prod to prod main.js. Anyway, all this does is slurps in the style and slurps in the production script and spits it into out.html. So let me remove it, right? So it doesn't exist there now. If I run it, embed, if I do it properly, embed, permission denied. Oh right, chmod, I guess, 755 embed. Right, now it created this out file here. You can barely see it because of my head. My head's in the way, but you'll just have to trust me. There it is. Right there. And then if I open if I open it, right, it's not being served, it's all on the client side only, and it is working the same way. So the cool thing about that is I can use it to still make apps in the way that I kind of want, where it's a completely self-contained thing, and it's just a useful sort of front-end only tool. So I have ideas that I'll expand on over time with that, but this is the first sort of prototypes of front-end related useful stuff that I want to tie into my CAD work with my stylo library here. So I'm pretty stoked about that, actually. So what I haven't done, like what I want to do, is add all kinds of stuff like shrink, the ability to shrink these windows and stuff like that. But I'm realizing it'd be nice to have an undo function to remove points here, which I could do. I have to make it a more robust sort of thing. So I don't know why that doesn't work right away, but these are all, this is, like I said, prototype stuff, right? There's a lot of fixing that needs to happen, obviously. I think that's related to hitting the text there. I don't want the text to do anything, but it can get in the way of the mouse or the mouse event on the points. Okay, so what I first want to do, actually, since I don't need a ton of screen space for this, I'm going to go ahead and make a change in there. If I go what are we looking at here? In the mount spot here, I have this drawable. I just hard-coded sizes in there. We'll just do 300 by 300, little square to draw in. And since I'm using Figwheel here, it should hot reload that. Oh, not into here, but into here. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so what I could do now, so since if I work on building this, right, the profile stuff here. Well, there's two things related to this design that need work. One, 2D drawings. So drawing the profile out is kind of tedious. Round tube is one thing, but the rectangular tube here is fairly straightforward initially, but let me see here. Let's see how this looks. This should refresh when when it builds again. Just need to run it. Oh, did it not save? Let's try that. Okay. Right, so this dimension stuff is all wrong, but this profile here is like it could conceivably be useful to draw out profiles in a little tool like this and then have it spit out the data for it so that you can use it in other contexts. So what might, well, so the first thing is these are pixel coordinates, right? So I might want to do a scale situation where I can get them to be in inches. So what might that look like? So I'm thinking, right, that I need a pixel density or something like that, like a dots per inch value that's reported by the browser or something. And then I can use that to set the scale of any SVG thing so that it looks at 100% zoom, like the correct, scaling factor. So I wonder if that's a possible thing. Let's see here, HTML, get screen DPI or something like that. Okay, this might be helpful. Hope everyone's doing all right today, by the way. Having a decent day. Just trying to get a little bit of work done here. You know how that goes sometimes. Okay, so I'm actually using the wrong term even, apparently. So negative pixels per inch of a display. How small the pixels are. Yeah. So dots per inch when printing an image. Right, so maybe there's no clean way to do this. Window.matchMedia. Okay, to determine the DPI of the screen. If you're trying to achieve precision in printing an HTML layout, your CSS should use print dimensions instead of pixels. Okay, well, we're not going to worry too much about exact precision. We're just going to get something that you could visually say, yeah, that makes sense as an inch. Because eventually zooming in and out of this kind of stuff is going to totally mess with all that anyway. So it's not gonna matter exactly. So I also wonder if I should give this a real name instead of just ASDF app. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, so this scaffold thing, this I need. Probably isn't like the smart, clean sort of approach, but I'll you know what, I'll just call it okay for the time being. And also let me just simplify this header to, does it need to be a defen? That's fine. Toolbox. And let's make it an H3 instead of an H1 so it doesn't dominate the top part of the screen there. Toolbox. There, perfect. I love that. That's so cool when you save it and it just, Figwheel just reloads it like that. That's a lot of fun. I like it a lot. Okay, so this is an obvious problem, right? The label gets cut off there, but at least I can't drag the point past the screen. Eventually I want some logic where the label pops and stays in the frame or something like that, but again, more trouble than it's worth right now, to be honest. Okay. So all I'm trying to do is get some reasonable scaling factor so that when I click here, right, if it looks about like an inch, so that I have values that are close to inch values. Does that make any sense? Right, so what I need to do is have the SVG scaled appropriately. But let's first have a look at this for a minute. Window.matchMedia. Let's have a look at what this is. Window match media. Let's see if there's anything useful. Okay, this is not quite what I was hoping for. See device pixel ratio. Ratio of pixel sizes. The size of one CSS pixel to the size of one physical pixel. Boy, oh boy. Okay. So different devices have different pixel ratios. That makes sense. If you have if you're on mobile with a high resolution display, you're gonna actually want a higher pixel ratio, right? So that, or smaller, so that one CSS pixel might equal 2 physical pixels or something like that. Yeah, right. Okay, this is actually more complicated than I thought. .96 is the classic DPI. Right, so this, just for a rough go, if I use scale size of 96 and a zoom of 100 here, right? Well, let me go ahead and inspect here. Let's pop open this console and see if I can actually let's just clear those. Can I do window.device pixel ratio? Okay, so the pixel ratio is 1 here. Right, so if I test a value here, scale value of 96, that's a good starting point. I'm gonna have to change the logic of how I draw these points, but let's start there. And the reason I'm doing this is because sometimes I want to draw kind of strange shapes in, if I want to cut out a strange looking hole here, right? I can extrude it, but I might first want to, like, what if it's something like this, right? All I want to do is roughly sketch it out on here. Then I have these base points and I can adjust them further if I want. Now, obviously, I don't have anything that locks things in orthonormal positions. There's no constraints on these lines, so it's a really weak tool right now, but it's definitely better than just imagining it in my head, so it's already an improvement. But anyway, if I want to do that reasonably quick, and I'm working in the inches sort of value levels, right? We're talking we're talking small numbers here. So I want to manually, or I want to have the display properly show those things. So I need to handle that. So SVG here, I've got width, height, scale, right? And scale is the value that matters to me right now. I can, since it's a parameter here, I can actually go into drawable. No, I need to fix the, oh wait, no, that's right. Drawable. This draw event here calls SVG. Oh, I don't, right. I'm not actually using that function, and I forget why. I had a reason. Oh, that's right, because it had an on-click that I wanted to add. So these are things that the architecture of this, right, I still need to figure out. That's okay though. Prototyping is fine with me. Oops. Right, so all I need to do, sorry, gotta make sure my timers are running here. Yep, we're good. Okay. Right, so what I did, I'm going to hard code the scale in for now and see if it works, and then figure out a smart way to clean it up. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And how I'm going to do this is wrap this whole thing in a G tag that has a transform scale (96). That's it. Right, then this whole points thing here, what I have to do for the points here, draggable point, here, I'm going to divide this by 96. No, that's wrong, because I need the actual point positions to be recorded as their scaled out values. Right, so that means actually what I need is, in the on-click here, the draw event actually needs to have a different, the draw event actually needs the scale. So if I go up here to the draw event, I had it somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Right, okay, let's close this. Here it is. So this draw event, X and Y, has to be this whole thing divided by scale 96, right? I don't think this is gonna work the way I want it to, but let's give it a shot. Right. Well, let me have a look here. Let me see if draggable point this circle here, if I give it a scale it way down, see if this is going to work. Right. So, no is the answer. And why is that? Well, let's see here. Let me go, let me look at this other SVG function I have in this context. Scale, right, it is scaled in there. Okay. Did I break something? I did. Oh, I have to take a call for a minute. Let's see here. That was a spam call. It's a little frustrating. Asking if I could clean, or if they could clean my ducts, like my air system. No doubt something you need to do from time to time, but the calls like that are always unsolicited and completely unhelpful. And came at a bad time, unfortunately. I guess I shouldn't have picked up a number I didn't recognize. So be it. Okay, what did I mess up here? Oh yeah, right, I would need this back like this, And then let me just scale it back to 1 for a minute here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're back in a... Nope, we're not back in a state that works. What have I missed here? Let's refresh it, see if that... Okay, something's wrong. Where's that? Oh, let me see here. Right. Okay, so I can't quite do things the way I thought because of an assumption I made in the draggable thing here. I assumed that the point would be drawn directly in an SVG element, not in a group tag. And I'm doing that because and that matters because the offset stuff here in the draw event here, state where is it? Here, I think. Oh, right. So here there's a function here, get parent offset. Right, so it looks just to the click target. It just automatically looks up to the parent, and then that parent, it gets the XY positions and the max positions and uses that to calculate the drag position. So I can't, unless I change that, I can't wrap any of this stuff in a G tag because the G tag doesn't match the whole SVG unless it's scaled 100 100, and then maybe it would work. So actually let me try that. It's messy, but this is just the starting point. So if I go here, right, like I was saying, that's the SVG, and if I do G style width 100%, height 100%, then transform scale 1 just to start it, right? So there should be no difference here, and then I should just be able to end that G tag here, and so all this stuff is inside the G tag. So if I save that, there should be no errors. It should draw here. I should be able to click fine here, and let's see drag. Nope, that's still wrong. And so my plan is foiled. So I guess this G tag, you can't put style on it like that. It doesn't. Okay, so it grows exactly to contain all of its containing elements. So if I cheese it, if I make things really close to the proper size here, this here, yeah, should be close, but it's only close because the bounding box around the G tag is around, like, the bounding box of the group is close to the actual shape of the containing SVG thing, right? So that's not going to work for what I need. See if I can change it at all. Only includes global attributes. Yeah, so I don't think this is going to work the way I want it to, which is fine because it's not really a good strategy anyway. But just out of curiosity, let me do it this way for a minute. Let's give this a try. See if that makes any difference at all. It does not, because the group tag is probably just ignoring width and height anyway. Yeah. Yep, which makes total sense. Right, so I mean, I could make a logic thing that checks, or a logic thing. I could make an event that keeps checking the parent, like recursively checks the parent node of the parent of the parent of the parent until you get to SVG. I think that might work. So what I need to do there, right, is if I go, it'll be in utils here. Let's just see if that makes any sense at all. Let me do here, let me do parent node of this whole thing. Get bounding client of E target parent node. I don't know if this will even work, but it'd be fun to try. Let's see. Oh man, that actually did work. Okay, so defin what do you call that, where you're exploring, you're jumping up levels, lineage, trace lineage. thinking about parents and children, right? So your lineage, right? Your ancestry. Oh, get ancestor. Yeah, right? So you're starting at right? Starting node, right? And then target type, start node, target type, and then, right? So what your condition is, if not, actually, let's just do node because it might not be the start node, right? If not node, node type, right? If the node type is not equal target type, if that's not true, then you have to call, then you have to recur get ancestor, spell it right, ancestor of node parent node right? And then target type is still the same. Otherwise, if it is, then you just return the node. Is this gonna work? Find out. Okay. Recur argument mismatch. Oh, okay. Of course, I'm doing that incorrectly. Okay, let's save that. Right. So let me get this back to what I had before. Okay. So let me comment that out so it's still there just in case this doesn't work the way I think. Get ancestor, right, of the node, which is just going to be from the event, it's the target, so the node that the event happened on, right? And then I want the target type to be, oh, I think it's actually node type. I think that's a thing, a property. I'll find out in a minute. And then I want it to be SVG. Let's see if that works. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's working so far. That did not work. Okay, so let's inspect and let's open up the console, see what errors there are. Warning, every element. Yeah, I know that that exists as a problem, but we'll fix it. Okay. Node is null. Is node type a real thing? Let's figure that out first of all. If I do this, okay, I can sneak something in here. JS console.log e. Let's go with that. Right, did that print something for me? node is null. Okay, so something that's not working. Okay, well let's just make this usable at least. Okay, so we have an object here. Target, whatever. Oh, let me change this one for a minute. E target. Save that. Let's have a look here. Clear this. Draw this. Okay, there we go. So that's a target. That's not what I meant to do. Console here. Let's open it up. Does it have something called like a type or node type? Node type, node name, that's what I'm looking for, actually. So let's have a look here. Get ancestor, node name, here, and then this should theoretically work. Let's give it a try. Save it, clear this. Okay, that's working. That is not. Something happened. Receive not a number. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Getting a lot of not a number errors in here, which is fun. I like that. That's funny. Okay, so let me just do this. Okay, parent 2, and then we'll keep this in a working state by calling this parent and all I want to do here is print parent 2. See what that does for me. Okay, so there is here, it does show the parent 2. Oh, of course, right. So okay, so it seems to be working. The only problem is I wasn't calling this get bounding client rectangle on that. So that's really the only issue, right? So all I have to do is call it get bounding client rectangle of get ancestor of that whole rigmarole. Let's see if that works. Let's print parent. Okay. Hey, there we are. Sweet. Okay. So we're kind of back in business. Let me double check that this will work though. If I do if I go back to the drawable here, right? And if I just get rid of the G tag entirely, right? So I'm back to what I had before, more or less. Okay, that component should work, and I should see no issues. I should work just fine and still get the SVG, and it does. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's a good improvement. Okay, now the scale's back. Let's try this again. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Let me just see what happens, right? So if I scale this to 2, things should go weird. Now let me, before I forget, let's just get rid of this console log here, because it's always annoying to have little debug things like that still baked into your code, it leads to confusion in your console, and I don't want that. One thing that I don't love about writing Clojure script is, compared to the Clojure code I've been writing, there's a lot. Maybe it's only related to when I'm doing front end stuff, but like I have a lot of this stuff and big names and camel casing mixed with kebab casing or whatever it's called. It doesn't feel quite as nice. That's a very subjective observation, but just got to get used to it. And there's a good chance that I'm not really using best practices anyway. This is totally, well, this is a relatively new set of work that I'm doing anyway, so you know, I might just be a little off base. If I change this to H6, what does that look like? I'm going to distract myself intentionally for a moment here. It's basically nothing, eh? Ah, so it's the body here that has 40 pixel margin there. 40, let's do 22 pixel margin, padding. Huh, why is that? Why is it that way? Oh, this root stuff, this was from an example I copied, so I should probably get rid of that. Just letting myself get distracted for a minute, but I'm okay with it. Okay. Ooh, it's a mistake. I've got body and body down here again. I'm gonna fix that in a different spot. Right now it's fine. Did that actually change something? Kinda. Let's refresh this page. Okay, that's pretty good. Probably there's something I'm missing here. If I do root HTML body, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me just ignore that. It's fine. That's all good. Doesn't really matter to me that much. Okay, so there, I've got. What was I doing? That's the problem with getting distracted, is you forget where you were. Funnily enough. Oh, that's right. I have under drawable here. I have this experiment here where I scale things up to 2, and things will get weird. Yes. So I could have a if I make let me just add in here scale item in here, right? I'm wondering if all I have to do string scale blah 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 scale, right? Scale is 2, and if I go here, draggable point here is I could make these into reactions, but just being lazy at the moment. Right, draggable point here, divided by this point value divided by scale. And this one, this point divided by scale as well. Let's have a look. Of course I need paren there. Right, so that's incorrect. Right. So yeah, that's not gonna work. Right, okay, so let me get this back to okay. Let's go into draw event here. Yeah, that makes sense. I've recognized another little problem. Okay, let me put scale back to 1 first for a minute here. Have a look at this. Okay, so what's happening or what I thought was happening was when I'm dragging this around, when I let go, the point is guaranteed to be in, like the mouse up happens on the target, on the circle, but here, if I start dragging this, it definitely doesn't end up on the target unless I go to 0, 0, and then it doesn't add. But if I go here and let go, it does, and that's related to I need here this I need to change this logic, right? So I just had it check for SVG, but I needed to check for it if the target is the event's parent. Yeah. So target of the event. Boy, oh boy, this is complicated. I was just gonna call the parent on the target here, but that doesn't make any sense, right? Because the target of the event This is also bad. I've got, well, bad. I have a double negative here, so it gets confusing to read. That's not really a good idea. So what this is doing here, though, is a draw event can occur on a drag. If a drag event ends, actually, I wonder if that'll just fix itself. If instead of on click, I do on mouse down. Let me see. Maybe I'm needlessly complicating things here. That's not it. Scale 1. Nope, that's definitely not it. Right, so on mouse down, when the target is SVG, then you're fine, theoretically, right? Let's see if that fixes anything. Oh, right, when not, that's wrong. No, that's not, stop it. What am I doing? Just do on click like this. Right, so when the target is SVG, you can draw. When the target, yeah. Well, that's not gonna work for me really. But for now I can't think of how to fix it. So what I'm gonna do is have one more look at the scale thing, but I actually first am gonna see if I can draw something here. No, I'm not. This is silly. Be right back. Won't be long. Won't be long. Okay, let me think about this stuff again for a minute. Let me think. Right, so let's see. Very nice. It's all working okay. Okay. Right. Scale. Scale, scale, scale. SVG, I want certain elements to maintain the true no. Scaling, no. Overflow, no. Using canvas to fix SVG scaling, none of that's quite what I need. Okay, forget that. Forget that noise. Let me have a look here. Okay, so the right, so I have a scale element here, right? It's transforming the SVG to be larger. That's good. The position, okay, so the state holds basically pixel click positions, which should be in a draw event, right? This, okay, state and scale, okay? Let's try that. Scale. Here, let's call x this whole thing divided by scale, and this whole thing divided by scale, and we should theoretically see things line up. Let's try it. Yes, almost. Okay, so now we have a drag event that does not account for the scale, but the draw event correctly does. See that? So that there is double the movement, which is not what we need, which means, right, these draggable points those draggable points, right, need a way to pass the scale in. Which really, to be honest, does make sense as a, well, but let's just do it the silly way first. Scale, right, point, scale, like that. Let's try it. No. Oh, because I haven't done anything. Okay, so there's reactions here. Right. Here, I can, let me just do it this way. Divided by, oh, no, I have to do it inside the reaction, right? So divided by the scale. So what I'm thinking is it probably does make sense to, there we go. It probably does make sense to put the scale in the state atom there and pass it through that way instead of as an argument. But I'm just trying this out to see if my head's in the right space. Okay, so we've got a bit of weirdness here. So I am inadvertently, so now the drag is right here, right? It's holding fine, but the point's initial position here is scaled doubly back. So why might that be? That would be because why is that? Oh, the draw event is saving the points in at the correct positions. Right, this. Right, somewhere I'm scaling the position of that down like twice, which is not good, obviously. I'm trying to follow the logic of where that is happening. Right, so I shouldn't need to put this through the draggable point. I thought anyway. Let's get rid of it. Have a look at that as is. Okay, so the touch position's correct on mouse down handler. Right? Mouse down gets the offset. It's the offset that needs the scale. So I have to pass it all the way through there. Right, if it were built into the state, that might be a little easier. But let me just check my logic for a minute by having this hard-coded here. If I divide this by 2, which is the scale I have hard-coded for now, right? This should theoretically all work now. Okay. Yes, it does. Okay. Actually, let me get this back. Divided by this whole thing divided by scale, and I'll come up with a better way to pass it all through later. Right, so mouse move handler has that there. Mouse down handler here takes in a scale thing here. Mouse move handler offset state scale. And draggable point here uses mouse down handler, which takes the scale value as well. And then it oh yes, of course. State and scale into draggable point, and then right here, draggable point has scale right in it there. Okay. Okay, so that works. If I scale it back down to 1, let's see if that works. Yep, it's working, which is good. Now, since I have draggable point is getting scale to it anyway here, what I'm going to do is go back up to this draggable point here, and I'm going to just divide. The radius is just going to be 4 divided by scale. So then it should always be 4 pixels. That's scale 1. Scale 2. Oh, I also have to do that to the label itself, which is frustrating a little bit. There. Label. There's absolutely a better way to do this, but for the time being, label, wrong number of arguments, 2 passed. Right, so label, let me change this. Text should be last, scale should be there. Right, so that's the label. Scale is here. Let's get rid of this. There. Hey. Now I have to actually do the transformation with it, of course. Label, scale. Oh, what's the smart way to do this? Can I just transform? Whoops. Transform string scale. Nope, scale like that. One over scale to shrink it. This is not smart. Not always this. Oh yes. Oh, of course. The position's wrong now. This is craziness. Is that the right way? Did I do it properly? there we go. That's good-ish. I mean, in that it works, but it's smeared all across a bunch of different functions, so I don't like that. So that needs work. That definitely needs work. But if I bump this up to 96, what does this all look like now? That's the real question I have. Oh, where are my labels? Oh, things are also okay, so that's not helpful. So it's snapped because I have a floor somewhere in there, and the scale is making all of these things really small. It's pretty cool. Just out of curiosity, let me see what happens. I have a ruler here. I just want to see how close to an actual inch that actually is. Okay, so it's bigger than 1 inch on the screen. This here should be 1 inch, right? Because the point here is 1, 2, and this is 2, 2. But I have this problem here because I'm doing a math/floor right here on these. So if I get rid of that, I should get proper full resolution of those things again. But before I go there, my labels have moved away in the wrong spot. So let me figure out why that's the case. Oh, because my concept of it is still wrong. Because I have here, it should be plus these divided by the scale. Yeah? Yeah. That's correct. And then if I get rid of the clamp thing, or not clamp, the math floor here, the clamp is still useful. Save that. Right, and now we have this display problem where it's going to crazy decimals. So math, what do we have? Round. Let's go, let's have a look at, oops. Man, sometimes my windows are too small. Okay, I've got the app I'm working on here. Things are looking okay. Now let's bump that scale up to 96. Okay, things are going a little wonky here. This is a pretty ridiculous looking thing, but let me try to draw a real life 1 inch. I have to do it this way. Okay. So that should be about 1 inch. And I've got, if I look at these x values here, let me just subtract it. The bigger one here, 1.8125 minus 0.9791666666. Right, so 0.833. So the scale is off by, the scale should be smaller, bigger. What have I done? What have I done? Nope. Come on. Nope, not what I meant to do. Come on. There. Okay, let's try 80. Right, so we've got 0. Well, let me actually do this. Right? Guarantee 0. Now the obvious thing is I'm calibrating this scale here to match my physical monitor, and that's obviously not. Holy crap. So that actually is the right scale now for my display. Let's see if I could do let's inspect some things here. Let's go to the console, clear this out, window dot a lot of Clojure script stuff, of course. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. I don't know what's all available on this stuff. So device pixel ratio is 1, right? But that's not sufficient. Are there other device things here? So we got device, motion, orientation, no. Pixel ratio, This is okay, let's see if there's, let me just search if there's something useful here. HTML get screen PPI, pixels per inch. That's the value I want. Okay, detecting system DPI and PPI. Let's see here. Ooh, this is smart. You gotta calculate it kind of by hand, but yeah, this is smart. So you get the offset width of an element that's guaranteed to be 1 inch by CSS, and then you can print it. Oh, okay, so this is maybe not as useful as I thought here. Huh. Does this actually work? Oh, whoa, you can run this in here? Neat. Okay, so if this is the DPI, why is my zoom wrong? Okay, this is not really worth all the trouble right now. This is not working. Sure, this all feels. These are all from. These solutions seem old, right? That's the problem I have. That's not what I need. Hey, Emerson Borer, how are you? Hope you're doing okay. This is not what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna not worry about the DPI settings. I'm going to be happy with this for right now, and what I'm going to do is prevent it from showing all of those there. Nice, thank you. What about me? I'm doing pretty good, actually. I'm feeling happy with some progress I'm making. Hey, Gmaster HD, how's it going? Good to see you here. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm in a pretty good spot. I kind of forced myself over the weekend to have a look at how to make a little bit of front-end Clojure script stuff, and I've got a situation here where I'm just building out a little bit of tooling, and it's actually working. I mean, it's not perfect, it's prototype level stuff, but you know, there's interaction going on, which is really nice. I'm happy with that. The idea here is kind of spawn a little sketch pad, right? Get some basic shapes in, move things around a bit, and then you can use that to build out 3D models in other contexts. So this here, if I have to format these values better, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but I can copy this here and create a polygon in a different program. Polygon, let's see here. Paste it in there. If I could copy the right things, it might work. What? I'm not using the right buttons? Is copy and paste not possible? What's going on with me today? Got something. Okay. Point is, these little tools are potentially helpful as I'm developing new designs. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah. That's really all. How's everything going with you, G Master HD? Did you have a good weekend? Let me see. Let's see. I have the text elements. Fine. Didn't get the rendering working? Oh, sorry to hear that. Keep at it. I'm sure you'll learn it and get there eventually. Do you have good tutorials or a book that you're following to get through that, or are you just kind of experimenting and doing a lot of self-teaching kind of stuff? What was I looking for? Text, I think it was. I had, oh man, I have to, that's over in this draggable component here, has this label, but the label is defined up in SVG here. Yeah, you have a tutorial, but you're not getting it. You can copy the code of someone else, but you can't write it yourself. Yeah, that is one risk of just following tutorials, right? You can copy and paste things and get your program working, but it's not really yours at that point, right? And if literally you're just copying and pasting things one line at a time, you run the risk of thinking that you understand it when you might not. That's a risk, right? So yeah, you can copy the code, but you can't write it yourself. Yeah, that's I think actually a good sign, right? That you're trying to actually learn it, not just copy it, right? So sounds like you got at least the right approach in that regard. So one thing I really hate about what I've just done, well, hate's maybe too strong a word here, but I'm passing this scale value through a bunch of functions, and I'm kind of tying the logic of them all together, so it's turning into a big old jumbled mess. For the sake of a prototype, I'm okay with it, but for the purpose of having a nice set of reusable components, it's just not going to cut it. I also realize this edge limit here is wrong, and that's because if I go into, I have to put the scale through another thing here. Other problem is when you copy the code, so many more cubes are created, the game gets laggy at like 8 cubes. Huh. That's a bit strange. So you're copying maybe like some kind of, I wonder if you're copying an array that's building out all the vertices and stuff for 8 different cubes. Oh, 80. Yeah, 80 might start to lag things out a little bit. So I don't, that's I guess you're not copying just the part that is responsible for a single cube. You're just looking through to see, or you're just copying the part that's the whole thing. And so the understanding part comes in, okay, well, what does the part you're copying actually do? And that's the part that you're still learning. At least it's what it kind of appears to be. Of course, I'm just talking, right? I don't know the details of what you're working on. All I know is it's GL related and that you're learning it. Okay, so there's some obvious problems with how this is all working, right? This click and drag thing is actually kind of a pain, but I just realized there's something I want to do here. I want to load this on my iPad and see what happens when I use the pencil to interact. Okay, so it does work, which is nice. That's another eventual goal I have, is to have this work really smoothly on my iPad. So like I just have the site up here and it does work. I didn't think to share my iPad screen on my computer, but that's totally fine. Another problem is you don't know how to tell the computer to not draw a specific face. For example, if you can't see a face, it still does get drawn. Oh, that's related to, I think the term is occlusion culling here. I think that's what that is. Hidden surface determination. Occlusion culling. Let's see here. Occlusion culling. That's a search term, maybe. If you're looking for stuff to read about that, that's a place to start. Maybe you already know that. Fundamentals. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff here. Occlusion culling, yeah. So all this stuff, so maybe it's not helpful to you, maybe don't go in over your head right away, I don't know, but I do know that what you're referring to, if you can't see a face, it's occluded by something else. Occlusion just means my hand is partially occluded by this ruler, as in you can't see part of my hand when the ruler's in front of it. And in graphics, any back face of a cube is occluded by its front face, right? So this back face of this ruler is occluded. You can't see it because you're looking at the front face, so you can't see through it, right? That's all. Not sure if you're doing all of this in Unity, but if you are, it would appear that there's a lot of tutorials that use it, so that might be helpful for you. I'm not sure. If it's not helpful, just totally disregard what I'm talking about, That's, you do you, right? Okay, let me do... Boy, if I could type, the world would be a better place. Okay, JavaScript, truncate, float. Rounding, math.round. Seriously, this is a convoluted thing. What? Math.round. Oh, you gotta... Really? That's not what I'm looking for. Wait, let me... Clojure script. Truncate float. Let's do it that way. Another problem is frustum culling, so that cubes behind won't be drawn. Frustum culling. Oops. Like the frustum of the camera, right? Is that what you're referring to? I suspect. The viewing frustum. Right, so anything outside of that space also does not need to be rendered, I guess. That's probably what you're referring to, right? View frustum. That's my guess. I think that's what you're referring to. Kind of like that. Yeah. Huh, cool. Frustum culling test. There's all kinds of stuff here. Do it on GitHub. Yeah. There's a lot to learn, when it comes to 3D graphics. It's fascinating and it's really cool, but I can see it's hard to start, right? There's so much and you just want to draw a thing and you have to learn all this stuff? What? I thought it would be easy. Just to put a cube on the screen, you know? But hey, you'll get there. If you keep chipping away at it, you'll figure it out. You're currently working on the event system? Okay, so are you are you making a game engine? Or just parts of a game engine just to kind of learn it? It sounds like you've got elements of a game engine that's in your mind. Yeah, cool. That's one. I guess it doesn't have to be massive, but that's a project that could easily have a pretty big scope to it. Sounds like fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, this is what I need to do, I guess, but I don't want to turn it into a string. I just want to... Well, maybe it's fine. If I just go like this, into the label part, the text, okay. This draggable point has a label, right, at this position, that scale with this text, and this, I'm going to string it, but first I want to do gstring/format %3f of this. The same here. Let's see if that looks okay. See, the problem there, of course, is if I want, I kind of want it to dynamically show more if it's relevant, but we'll start there. Maybe that's useful. Maybe that's helpful for me. No such namespace. gstring. of course, google.string. This is weird. I don't understand why they did it that way. Maybe, well, let's also make it gstir, just because it's shorter. And we go up to the namespace, pop that. Goog events, we go google.string as gstir. Firstly, I thought a game engine is like 2 days window, 3 days key input, a few days events, and GUI listeners, few days render, and then done. Now I see it's more like a lot of months of working. Yeah. I think, well, any project you take on is likely to take longer than you first think in general. But a project like a game engine probably has some pretty big inherent complexities to it unless you really scale and narrow your focus, right? So if you look up tutorials for make your own game engine, a lot of them are about building 2D game engines, right? Not big 3D game engines. So that's just an example of, okay, if I focus down on only 2D, then I could theoretically make a game engine in a shorter period of time. Now, I'm not discouraging you by any means, right? Take on big projects is fun. But yeah, they're probably going to take a lot longer than you first estimate. And that's super normal. Come on. This looks ridiculous. This is also wrong. Let me just... do I like it? Not really. Let me go into the console and explore. Errors. Oh, I've got errors, eh? Each child in a list should have a unique key. Yes, I'm going to fix that later. Yes, yes, yes. That'll take some time. I think when it comes to game engines, that's one of the reasons games like, or engines like Unity and Unreal Engine are so popular is precisely because they're complicated projects in and of themselves. But once you have that base, you have an engine that works, and you have a team that can reliably update it and maintain it, then you, as a game dev or something, can just go ahead and use all that work up front almost for free, right? Like, those engines are for free until you, depending on licensing and stuff like that. But all of those many months and years of work on an engine, now you can use instead of having to recreate it all yourself. So the appeal of those engines makes a lot of sense to me. If I do math is not defined, eh? See what I have here. Safe floor, safe ceiling. Let's just say floor and see what that does. Oh, okay, so it does turn up to 2 at some point. Huh. Alright, this is not, I'm just kind of wasting my time with this. Let's forget that. Let's forget this Google string thing, because I'll have to come up with a more effective way to do the units and values and stuff anyway. Yes, 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 that's all broken. Let me just get rid of this. String this part together to look like that. There we go. Okay. Clear that. Let's have a look here. Okay, we're back to reasonably good. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Whew, pardon me. I'm just trying to think about what's a good thing to do next that won't take me too long, because I've got about probably 30 minutes before I should get going, if I'm honest. Yeah, about 30 minutes. Didn't get to much of my design work on this, unfortunately, but oh, we'll just be okay with that for the time being. Okay, one thing I wanted to do is, let's see here, HTML, prevent all interactions on element. I don't want to disable the content, I just want nothing to happen. Pointer events none. Let's try that. Pointer events none. Let's do that over on, let's head up here. Let's close this again, SVG. We'll add this here. User select none. Pointer events none. Let's try that. So the reason I'm trying this, wait a minute, what? Okay, maybe this is not what I am thinking, but we'll give it a shot. Pointer events none. We'll try that. We'll go here. What I'm trying to do is, yeah, it's not, it didn't change anything. What I was thinking was, sometimes when I try to grab a point and drag it around, it doesn't work. And I thought that was related to this element being in the way, kind of blocking it, but that's not really the case. So and let's see if I were to let me get rid of this, I don't need it. If I were to go back, right, if I add this point, is it point events? Pointer events. Got to do it right. Pointer events. Now maybe it'll work. I mean, no. Subjectively, no, it's not it, because now I can't. Maybe it's hard. It's too hard to say. I don't know, unfortunately. Okay, so got something okay there. Next, what's a cool little thing I can do? I can, first of all, let me get rid of these because I don't need those. Oh, what? Oh, did I delete the wrong thing? Maybe I did. Okay, scale. So here's a label. Turns out I do need that. How foolish of me. If I go to... Okay. Here, okay. Let's put this back here with this. Like that. Yeah. That's fine. Mount. There's the spawner tool, which is okay for right now. Not perfect, but if I were to add... Oh no, never mind. We got that there. Scaffold. Header goes into the cell 1. Spawner. Does this work? Kinda. Let me... Okay, that's fine there. This app, this blurb here, I can do this way. Paste that there. That's that. This app thing here, I can just get rid of that entirely. Good. Okay. So, now what's next? Hey Gmaster HD, if you're still there, just out of curiosity, how'd you find this channel? Did you just see it on like the Twitch front page or something like that? This is maybe out of left field, and you know, feel free to not answer if you don't want to, but I'm trying to slowly think of ways I can get the reach of this thing a little bigger. I can improve the... Because of Dr. Zonk? Okay. Dr. Zonk. So do you know Dr. Zonk and they hosted you, or they hosted me or something along those lines? Thanks for sharing, by the way. Yeah, your friend? Cool, cool. Just curious. Because there's a few things I need to do to make this stream better over time. I need to improve the presentation style of it. I need to improve my prep so that I'm a little more go, 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 so that there's more to see and do in one stream. That's stuff on my end. The next stuff I need to do is figure out how people come to it and why, and over time figure out the specific draw that people have and capitalize on that. So, but none of that's really important to you. I was just curious about it, that's all. So thanks for letting me know. I do appreciate that. I think one thing that will get more attention over time is more so programming, but tied in very strongly with visual stuff, which is why I like the idea of these little app things here that I can use to visually manipulate things while code is happening and stuff like that. I think that really has some potential to look really nice. So that's one reason I'm doing this. Perhaps you don't ultimately care about it that much, but it's fascinating stuff to me. Okay, what I think I'm going to attempt to do is add into the state atom of the drawable element the scale factor, so that I don't have to pop it in like that. It'll just be part of the state. So in order to do that, I actually need to change how I do this. Instead of making it just a list here, I do need it to be an atom that contains both scale, and then here points, like that, and scale here, let me make it 80 for a start, right? Okay, now, okay, so I've moved scale into the state. First thing to do is points now is where the points list is. So I have to change for points at state, like this. Like that, right? I could turn points into a reaction, but no, I won't do that for now. Okay, so for points at state, you do that. Button on click resets the state. No, it doesn't reset the state. All it needs to do is clear the points list, right? So I just need to, what is swap again? Swap. Right, so I do swap assoc with the key points, and then the value would be this. So that would be how I write that. So let's do that. Swap with assoc into the key points. Wait a second, let me just swap. Is it I've swap state with assoc points. Get rid of the state here. Just gotta do it in the right order. Okay. Button on click has this function E, which looks like this. These are hard to read sometimes. I don't love that about this, but we'll go there. We'll deal with it. Okay, so that's the reset button, the clear button. And the coordinates here, instead of this, you just have to pull points out of @state, like that. Right, and so that means now draw event doesn't have the scale call to it because scale doesn't exist there. And here transform is just going to be scale. You got to pull scale out of @state there, like that. Polygon 2 points, points @state. Yes, perfect. Okay, that should all be good. Now we go to draw event, which now only takes the state, right? And the scale is not part of this. Oh, sorry. Scale should still be part of it, but I'll do it this way. I'll let scale equal scale from state. Do I need to associate or deref it? I don't think so. We'll find out. We will find out. Oh, I think I do. Let's deref it properly there. Okay. Scale. And here we swap right, state's different here, right? So I have to swap state with a function that conges This is so hard for me to read right now. That's a bit of a problem. Right, so let's see if I can figure this out here. Let's define A to be a map that has this shape to it, 80, and the points is 1, 2. Let's just make it a list for simplicity here. It doesn't really matter. 2, 3, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the points. Okay. What I want to do is create the proper swap for this. So what I need to do, right, is assoc into the A map into points. The value is going to be update A, and the key is points, and then the function to update it with Yeah, okay, that's what it is. That's what I'm supposed to do. Right? So instead of swap state with this function, you do swap state with update and update has this function in it. Is this gonna work? Let's find out. Let's have a look. Okay. Right, so over in Polygon here, I've got point scale. Right, draggable point also needs to change. State, no scale there. Instead, scale here is scale at state and then mouse down handler also label should still have scale called to it. Mouse down handler here, state no scale, because scale comes from the state. So mouse move handler now doesn't need this. It has scale here, and so I do a in the let here scale at state. Oh boy, is that everything? Okay, it's tentatively working. It's not working. That's okay. That is okay. Let's have a look. Let's inspect. Errors up the wazoo. Okay, type error, F is undefined. Okay, Well, okay. I have to go to the washroom, so be right back. Gotta leave soon anyway, but I have to think about this one. Okay, alright, what does this even mean? I've made a big mess. which is fine. I just have to fix it, of course. This width height thing, while I'm looking at it, doesn't mean anything, so get rid of it. There's the transform for that. Let's bring this out here. Close that. Is this even correct? Let's have a look at this part here. I think this is wrong. Okay, so now what I want to try to do is this function essentially here. Let's make it work. Oof, boy oh boy. Let's do swap b with the function update, and update has the map b and the arguments to it. The arguments to update are conj update takes map key function. Oh, points. Let's have a look at that, see if that works. Yes and no. Mostly no. Okay, so we've got something, right? This is a text block here. Well, we're getting somewhere because we have some of the drawings, but not all of it. Yeah, receive not a number, receive for X, not a number. In where? What is this? Oof, okay. That's a warning, warning, warning. Okay. We're on the right track, kinda. Doesn't really look like it, but we're getting somewhere. Okay, so this is working, kinda there. This scale, right, should be fine. Now where am I missing a scale call or something? In the label, in this draggable point, scale is at state. Ooh, did I that's all looking good. What's the reason? 1 2 3  4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158 159 Okay, those are getting drawn in the right spots, right? So the polygon points here are fine. For point of, from points at state, yeah, draggable point from x, y at point, from y at point, and point. So the draggable point stuff here is not yet correct. Okay. Draggable point. The state part for draggable point is just point here. And there's no scale, because this is not the state, this is a different state. Okay, that makes sense. This points at state get changed by the draw event here. Okay, so here I actually need a copy of the state. That's not good. That's no good. Well, I mean, we'll try it. We'll see scale. Yeah, okay. Almost. Almost. Okay, so on drag things go wrong. Mouse down handler. Mouse move handler. Scale at state. I thought that would be good. I mean, at this point here, right, I actually could make draggable point a function that only takes in the state, and does that make any sense? Kinda. I don't love that though. I'll leave it be. Mouse down handler. Mouse move handler. This should work. I thought it would work. Let's console log it. Scale. Should be 80 still on mouse move. Okay, it's 80 and then it's null. Oh, Oh, here, right? So I'm resetting the state. Scale is scale. Let's see if that works. Yeah. I'm not sure that that's the most elegant thing in the world. In fact, I'm quite convinced that it's not. But it does do the trick. And now I should be able to do, let me see if it works. We'll find out. Oh, let's get rid of the console log here. Save that. Let's add a little how do you add sliders? There's a way to add sliders, right? Okay, slider. Let's just copy this. Let's be lazy. Let's try, okay, so there's a button on click. Let's do text area. Is that a thing? Does that work? I don't know. Okay, so you can put a text area thing there, but oh wow, what a mess. Okay, well that's fine. That's just fine for now. Text area is that, but I need an on change function on change of the text area. Do function e. How do you get the value of it? Let's have a look. Okay, here. So this time color thing has an atom there, and the component color input is an input type text value. Oh, this would be a better way to do it. Reset. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. As a basis and modify it for my needs. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Scale input. Div. Scale. Input type text value at time color. It's an atom. Ah, okay. State. Let's not make it a function right now. Let's just be lazy. Copy that. Okay. It's this whole thing. Paste this div. Okay. On change, reset instead of time color. No, you just swap state with update. Oop. Scale key with target value. Is this gonna make sense? We'll try it. I think that's broken. Oh, at time color, right, of course. This is wrong. This has to be scale at state. So the scale's 80. Scale's still 80. Wrong. On change. Okay. Swap state with update. The map is state. You're updating the key scale, right? And you are doing the event target value is the new value. Oh, but I could just assoc instead. That. Let's try that. Clear that. This is kind of working still. That's good. Hey, that worked. Whoa, cool. Okay, so that's pretty neat. So I can use that to still get like pixel values, right? If I scale it below. Cool. Okay, so let's scale it. So the issue is after you scale it, if you change the scale after you've written to it already, things goof up. See that? Things don't make sense, but now they do. And if I scale it to 20 and then draw, you've got elements at different scales and that's very confusing. So you have to clear it for the scale to set. Okay, that's pretty cool. So on that note, let me split this. Let's do draw event. This function runs when a click event occurs on the SVG of the drawable component. Okay, here now I've got, is it 3? Yeah, drawable. This is the component that I need to pull out the components like buttons and text inputs. I also need to turn inline event functions into their own functions, like I did with draw event, to keep the component cleaner. In general, I should rework the state approach and clean up the architecture so that plain SVG components can be quickly wired up without copy paste messes. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to get going. Yes, because I'm happy with what I've managed to get done. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And let's do scale 20, it shrinks it. Yeah, okay. That's enough messing around with this for right now. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna get going. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone who's watching this after the fact or right now, thanks so much. Thanks for chatting for a bit if you did that. If you did not, but you just tuned in and chilled, that's awesome. I gotta keep this up because I really enjoy doing it, and I'm getting better at programming, and I'm getting better at talking about what I'm doing as I go. And I soon enough will have kind of a good rhythm and routine about making reasonably entertaining and useful content on a regular basis. With that in mind, I won't be here tomorrow because it's Wednesday. I usually use Wednesdays as a deep work day, so I don't stream. I'll be back on Thursday and on Friday with more work on this reagent kind of stuff and design work for my CAD library in general. So that'll be the future, but right now I'm going to get going. I hope everyone has a good time. I hope everyone's doing okay. Thanks for tuning in, and I will be back on Thursday. Goodbye.